Hello, sweet friends. Welcome back to another Read Aloud. In honor of our continued study about water, we have another fiction story called The Little Raindrop. Isn't he cute? What is this in the background? Do you think he has something to do with this? Maybe he does. So let's see what happens to the little raindrop. One dark and stormy day, a little raindrop fell out of a cloud and flew faster and faster through the sky. There he goes. A gust of wind blew little raindrop sideways, and in a dazzling flash of red, orange, and yellow, he found himself inside of a rainbow. Look at that. Enjoying the beautiful colors, little raindrop fell through green, blue, indigo, and violet before another gust of wind blew him right out of the rainbow. Oh, do you see the rainbow reflected in him? Splash! Little raindrop landed in a shallow puddle on top of a large rock. Now, in talking about liquid water this week, do you see how when he hit the rock, his shape changed? Because rain is a liquid, it does not have its own shape. Look how cool his shape looks right now. Do you think he'll stay that way, though? Because he is still liquid. Splish, splash, splash. Lots of other raindrops fell all around him until the puddle was overflowing. Little raindrop ran down the side of the rock and joined a stream. Now, in our experiment about water going down, we talked about how gravity makes things go to the lowest point. So when he splashed out of the puddle, he went down to join the stream to the lowest point so far. But a stream is also going to flow downhill. In the stream, little raindrop drifted through woods and bounced over puddles. He played with small simmering fish and watched them dart around as deer and rabbits came to drink at the water's edge. Now, we know this is fiction for a lot of reasons. One, we know raindrops don't have faces. But also, the raindrop, you can still see his little shape in the stream. That does not really happen. When rain joins other water, it just kind of all mixes together. Just like when you have a glass of water and you pour a little bit of water in it, and then you put a little bit more water in it, can you see the two sections of water in your glass? No, because they all mix together into one big thing of liquid inside your glass. The illustrator draws little raindrop so we can follow him because he is a character in our story. Sometimes laughing children would race sticks in the water, and little raindrop would chase them under bridges, dodging the swirling grass and fluttering leaves. If you look very closely, do you see the reflection of the children up here? Can you see them? They're kind of blurry, aren't they? Do you see the fuzzy caterpillar in the leaf boat? Sometimes when it rains a lot, you might find things that you might want to put in the water as it moves to see if it sinks or floats. We talked about that earlier this week too, and last week. After a while, the stream joined a river, and the little raindrop floated along in a great strong current. Current is the way the water is moving. At times, the river was calm and peaceful, and little raindrop watched diving kingfishers and larger fish as they swam slowly by. So the stream has been going down to the lowest point. When it meets a river, it joins in, and the river is also going down to the lowest point. So do you see our character, Little Raindrop? Now, they said kingfisher. That's this type of bird right here. What they do is they are able to dive under the water to catch fish and bring them back to the surface. So Little Raindrop is having quite the adventure watching all of these things. At other times, the river was noisy and rough. The little raindrop raced along rapids and dived down waterfalls, carefully avoiding the jagged rocks at the bottom of the falls. So look. Think about all the raindrops when they fall. They all travel all over the place. They don't really have a say. Little Raindrop can't just say, I want to stay right here. Liquid water does not have that choice. It flows wherever gravity causes it to go. Eventually, the river reached the sea or the ocean. The little raindrop was pulled far away from the shore. He met friendly dolphins who played and danced in the sunlight and listened as they whistled and clicked their greetings to each other. So he went from a puddle to a stream to a river all the way down to the ocean or the sea. Here's what happens next. What do you think? Where can he go from there? The ocean is the biggest type of body of water on our planet. Let's see. One day, the tide pulled Little Raindrop back to the beach. He surfed the waves and crashed into the shore until finally he came to rest on the soft sand. So look, if you've ever been to the beach, you know the waves crash into the sand, and every time they do that, they leave a little water behind. There's Little Raindrop crashing into the beach. Let's see what happens. The sun shone down on the sand, and the little raindrop got hotter and hotter until the warmth of the sun drew him up into the air. It was cooler in the sky, and Little Raindrop joined a cloud that was already full of other raindrops. So look, here's the page. Do you see? Now, we've been talking about the states, forms, or phases of water this week. Solid, like ice. Liquid, which is what Little Raindrop was when he fell and joined all those different types of water sources. And now he is evaporating. He is becoming a gas because of the sun's heat, and he's going back up to where it's much cooler. Now look over here. Do you see the cloud full of other little raindrops? What do you think happens when it gets so full of droplets of rain? Eventually, gravity is going to help something happen. Little Raindrop was up there, and finally he was ready to fall to earth and begin his journey once more. So finally, the cloud gets so heavy with droplets of water vapor or gas that they start to stick together, and eventually they fall and rain again. Now, do you think this continues to happen to Little Raindrop? Over and over and over again? He falls, he travels, he evaporates, he falls, he travels, he evaporates. Do you see how it keeps going almost around in a circle? That's called a cycle. We talked about butterflies at the beginning of the year and how the butterfly lays the egg, out comes the caterpillar. The caterpillar gets big and fat and makes the chrysalis, and then out of the chrysalis comes a butterfly, and what does that butterfly do? Lays an egg, and it starts all over again. Water does the same thing. It falls from the sky, it travels, and eventually it lands somewhere where the heat from the sun warms it up, and it evaporates up back into the air, where it's cool way above our heads. And as it cools, it starts to come together, and they start to stick together, and they get heavier and heavier, and eventually gravity causes it to fall. So we have precipitation. Do you remember that word from yesterday? Evaporation and condensation. There's a song for that, and it goes like this. Water travels in a cycle, yes it does. Water travels in a cycle, yes it does. It goes up as evaporation forms clouds, as condensation falls down as precipitation, yes it does. That's exactly what happened to Little Raindrop. He became precipitation when he fell as a droplet of rain. He traveled, and eventually he got somewhere where he got warm enough to evaporate into a gas. And then when he got up with all those other raindrops in the air as water vapor, as they got cooler, they got closer and closer together, and they got heavier and heavier, and finally they had to fall again, right? So we had precipitation, evaporation, condensation. Precipitation, evaporation, condensation. It doesn't stop. It just keeps going. That is how water travels all over our planet. That's why the rain that we had a few days ago, that water could have come from California, right? Sometimes you might get water that came all the way across the ocean, maybe from France or maybe from China. You have no idea where that water may have evaporated from and gone up as a gas and joined other clouds. And as it traveled, it picks up water vapor from all over. And eventually, a cloud is going to come over your house, and it's going to be so full of water vapor, that's why it turns that dark gray, that gravity eventually, the force of it, causes the droplets to start to fall. And that is called the water cycle. I hope you enjoyed the Little Raindrop today. We will be reading more about the water cycle in the next few days. So today, go find someone in your house and tell them, this is how water travels around our planet. Precipitation, travel, travel, travel. Evaporation, condensation, the wind moves those clouds around the planet, and eventually it starts to precipitate again. So tell them about Little Raindrop's journey and what happened as he traveled around. Thank you so much for joining me for this story today, and I hope you learned something new about the water cycle. Remember, water travels in a cycle, yes it does. And I will see you next time.